Susan, you're very welcome along to the show. Thanks for dropping in to see us.
Thanks for having us.
No problem indeed. And can you introduce the guys that you have with you tonight as well?
Yeah, so I have tonight, Brian McGrain is here.
How are you?
Brian on tour plays the piano in the band. But tonight he's playing a bit of piano and a bit of guitar when we sing our songs. And Anthony Byrne, who is our bagpiper in the show, he's here as well this evening. He's going to be playing a bit of guitar on one of the songs with us as well.
Excellent stuff. So you've been on a little bit of a break from Celtic Woman, but it's starting back now next month. You've a big tour and stuff coming up.
Yeah, that's right. Well, we just got back there at the beginning of July. We were in the States for 4 months on tour. So we had the kind of month of July free. But we were actually in the studio again this month recording our new album. And then like you said, we go back out on tour to South Africa in September.
Right, it sounds exciting anyway. So
yeah,
is it nice to get the little bit of downtime, but even though you're kind of still working on stuff as well?
Yeah, I actually love that. I love being at home and working. So you're kind of busy, you have a purpose, but you get to kind of go home at the end of the day and be in your own home. It's lovely.
Yeah. So tell us, when did you first get involved in Celtic Woman then?
I first started in 2012, so that's coming up to, that's 4.5 years I've been there now. I started back then actually. Started as one of the girls in the group was going on maternity leave, so I was kind of called in to cover her, and I just ended up staying really. She kind of decided to stay at home, and so I got the job.
Look after the kid and all that crack as well.
So it's been 4.5 years. Yeah, I kind of initially thought I'd do it for about a year, because I'd come from London, and most contracts over there you kind of do about a year at a time, so I was kind of used to doing a year. So this is the longest I've ever kind of been in the one job.
Yeah. I suppose you've been very busy over the noughties doing a lot of theatre stuff, and there was a lot of stuff on TV. And so how did you first get involved in all of that then?
Well, I went to Billy Barry, of course. So I was there from the age of 4, and I was sort of always training, always singing, dancing, acting. And then I was professionally working from the age of 11. Like, I used to go to school during the day and then go out to the theatre at night. Actually, one of my first kind of big jobs was I played Annie in the Olympia. Twink was Miss Hannigan, and that was a great job. I was very young. I was only 11 when I did that, and it was kind of, that went for about 4 or 5 months. We did that. I actually made my confirmation with like a red bob, red hair with kind of blonde roots. And and then kind of all the way through school was doing kind of my leaving cert, and I was kind of running off after exams to do shows at night. And then I went to London when I was kind of 21, 22, and I was there up until about 2 years ago. I was up kind of there. I was sort of still there when I started Celtic Woman. I was kind of going back and forth.
I'd say that was kind of tricky doing both at the same time, was it then, for a bit?
Yeah, well, I was just, it was hard because I was living in London, I was away with Celtic Woman so much, but I'd always kind of then go home to London, and I was like, well, why don't I just go home to Ireland? So I did. I kind of packed up and moved home here about 2 years ago.
I see what you mean. And was that very nerve-wracking at the start, doing all those kind of shows when you were really young? Yeah,
I think when you're young, though,
there's no fear.
No, I get more nervous now as you get older because you're more aware and you're more conscious, like, of yourself. And I think as well, when you get older, auditioning is more nerve-wracking because you've got a lot more to lose or something. Like, you go for an audition now, it's like, I need to get this job to pay the bills. When you're younger, it's like, I just want to get this job because it'll be great fun. So yeah, I think as you get older,
your priorities kind of change a little bit, don't they?
Yeah, totally. Like, but I mean, it's still enjoyable once you're there and once you know what you're doing. It's great. You can't really beat that kind of buzz of a live show. Right,
we'll get you to do a first song live in studio. And tell us, you've been doing 17 songs in 17 weeks. Was a challenge that you set yourself?
Yeah, well, actually, it was Anto here, who's beside me.
How are you, Keith?
Thanks.
It was actually myself, Anto, and Brian. Like, we're great friends on the road, and it was sort of just something that myself and Brian did a song. We did an Adele cover, just kind of for the crack, and we put it up on our Facebook pages. So Anto was like, well, why don't we just like set ourselves a challenge and we'll put a song up every week? And like, I wouldn't normally be one now for kind of putting myself up online singing. Like, I was be kind of shy in that way. Not anymore, obviously. But so Anto was like, well, let's do it. Let's like do 17 songs, a different song every week, and we'll kind of ask people to like suggest songs and people, because it's nice as well, because when you're on tour, you sing the same songs every single night, you know. So your voice and your techniques and can kind of get a little bit rusty if you're not using one part of your voice. So it was good. It was a good challenge for all of us to kind of keep going, keep exercised, and keep fresh. So we did a different song. We challenged ourselves. So some weeks are tough because like you could be traveling really long hours. You might have no sleep, and then you're like, oh my god, it's Friday and we need to put a song out like by Sunday, kind of, because the week is nearly up. So
And then you're travelling in different time zones and all that sort of thing as well.
Exactly, yeah. So, yeah, and that was the thing as well. We'd kind of go, we need to put the song up by the end of the week or else we've missed a week. So with the time difference, you're like, okay, it's nearly night time in Ireland on a Sunday and you'd be panicking, kind of trying to get it up. But yeah, it was great fun. We loved it, didn't we? It was great. Yeah. Good, okay.
Right, what song are you going to do? Or the Adele, yeah.
No, we're going to do a song, actually. It's by James Bay called Craving.
Brilliant, okay. So, take it away in your own time, so...
Walking through the traffic on a Monday in the town I grew up, shelter from the rain in every doorway. It's dark and everyone's numb. Kids are making faces in the bus lane, but nobody looks up. Everyone's life's the same as yesterday, just like the ticking of clocks. And I'm craving, craving, craving something I can feel. Where do I go? What do I need? Is it ecstasy or is it fear? Am I on my own? Am I even close? 'Cause I'm craving, craving something I can feel. Never thought the nights could get so lonely till he called me up. Never thought these streets could have outgrown me. I guess it wasn't enough. So I put my faith in everyone around me. Then she sold all my stuff. Sheer and wild abandon, that's all I need. And someone I can trust. And I'm craving, craving, craving something I can feel. Where do I go? What do I need? Is it ecstasy or is it fear? Now I'm on my own. Am I even close? 'Cause I'm craving, still craving something I can feel. Far from the streets and roads, lead me out in the night. Don't show me the way back home, 'cause I am craving, craving, craving something I can feel. Where do I go? What do I need? Is it ecstasy or is it fear? Am I am I even close? 'Cause I'm craving, still craving something I can feel. Craving something I can feel.
Brilliant stuff. Susan Mcfadden and Brian McGrain have taken the roof off the station, which is really good stuff. That's brilliant. It's a lovely James Bay song, isn't it?
Yeah, it's a great song.
Yeah, excellent stuff indeed. So, can I ask the guys, how did they get involved in Celtic Woman then?
Just throw this guitar down here, please.
Yeah, no man.
How are you, Keith? Anto here. Back in, I think it was 2007, I grew up playing in the Art Club Pipe Band, and we were involved in a DVD shooting with the band The High Kings. I'm sure you've heard of them.
Yes.
Out in Ardmore Studios, and from that I got to do a few shows with them around Dublin, and then that led to touring with the lads in America for about 5 weeks in 2008, I think, and then we came back and toured in Ireland, and it's the same kind of crowd that are running The High Kings as Celtic Woman. So the music director at the time, he just started writing parts bagpipe parts for Celtic Woman, and I was called in to do that, and then recording on that and recording on the DVD in Paris Court. That led on to a tour in the US in 2010, and yeah, just been there since.
Right, yeah, excellent. It's kind of the connections kind of met each other, and you kind of fell into it, basically.
Yeah. Very lucky now, to just the way it all interlinked, and yeah, one thing led to another. It's great.
Cool. Brian, what about yourself? How did you get involved?
We didn't bring his bagpipes in case
Yeah. I see you sweating there. It's all right.
They're not coming out. Don't worry. I first saw the Celtic Woman show in the Helix in Dublin in 2013. This was before I joined, and the show just blew me away. And from there, I just got in touch with the musical director and kind of became friends with him, really. And a spot opened up for a piano player, and I did the audition and got the gig. So it all kind of happened very fast for me. I did an audition on the Thursday evening, and he said he'd let me know by the weekend. So I was kind of trembling all weekend, waiting to hear. And he gave me a call on the Sunday and said, you're going to Germany in 2 weeks. So it was a bit of a turning point in my life, to be honest, because I had spent 4 years in DIT doing product design, and then I spent another 2 years kind of trying to make it happen in the music industry. And it's tough because there's so many people doing it, but I think we all feel we're very lucky to kind of have the jobs we do and to travel as much as we do.
You're in the right place at the right time for that. That particular moment. Yeah,
it's just one of them things, really. Yeah.
And tell me, did you play music solo or play with other artists before that even happened then?
Yeah, so I've always played at Mass, and as a young kid, I started playing at Mass when I was probably about 7 or 8, and I was always in cover bands, touring up and down the country. And then when I was 19 or 20, I played with Brian Kennedy for maybe 2 or 3 years. And yeah, just kind of a few other artists in Ireland, nothing really too major, but this was the kind of one big break for me, I suppose.
Yeah, it's really good, because obviously a lot of people, like, I've seen the Celtic Woman on Sky Arts on the TV and seen like the girls singing and all, and some people probably see the show and they just see a couple of girls singing, and there's actually a whole production, and there's you guys playing the music, so it's a very big show that's put on.
It's about 30 of us on tour when we tour the States and stuff. There's 3 tour buses, and it's about 30 of us all together. So it is a huge operation just to have the show up and running. It takes a lot of people.
Close knit.
And involved in that 30 people, there's the singers, the musicians, but there's other crew setting up things as well, isn't there?
Yeah, we have a crew, and so with drivers and everything. We've drivers, we've 2 trucks, they have drivers, and we've 3 buses, and we've got like crew, which is sort of a mix of half Irish, half Americans, and then obviously the band, and we've a wardrobe and lights, and there's a lot. Tour manager, hair, makeup people. There's a lot.
Yeah, there's a lot in it, isn't there?
Yeah.
So obviously, like, in terms of the obviously you mentioned there's a new album and stuff coming out.
Yeah.
Like, how do you have a meeting with the team and decide what songs you're going to do, or what way does that kind of work then?
Well, there's a musical director. Our musical director at the moment is Gavin Murphy, and he's brilliant. And he would kind of meet with the producers, and they decide kind of what direction they want to go. And this next album, which is coming out, is a symphony album. So we're performing with a big symphony orchestra.
Right, excellent.
So and I've heard a bit of it, actually. We're in the middle of it now at the moment. So the bits I have heard have been lovely. It's lovely to hear songs that we sing every night. Actually, they're huge now when you hear them with the orchestra. So, and Gavin's kind of doing loads of new arrangements of songs that we have performed in the past, but they're brand new arrangements, so they sound like different songs. But they'll kind of decide what kind of direction they'll go, and then Gavin kind of comes up with the arrangements and tells us kind of what parts we're singing and what songs we're singing and stuff like that. So
yeah, it's really good. And in terms of the live shows, then is it kind of a mix of traditional songs and then some modern pop kind of contemporary songs then? Yeah,
we do a different show nearly kind of every year. So the last show we did was based on our previous album, which was out last year, called Destiny. It was probably the most, it's funny, they say it was kind of the most Celtic album because there was a lot of songs in the Celtic language, in Irish, like Oscailga, but there was a lot of pop sort of sounding songs. It was quite, they went for it kind of in Germany. They brought the album to Germany, really kind of plugged it over there. So there was a lot of German influence. There was a couple of German producers and writers on it. So, and they loved their kind of pop music. So, I mean, I loved it because that's kind of my my vocal kind of genre would be that. But then there's been previous albums where it's very traditional, or it's a kind of crossover though. Like there's a lot of variety in the show. There's some very traditional moments, and then there's some kind of pop moments, and then there's some kind of classical. So it crosses over really.
It crosses over a couple of genres and stuff. Yeah. So it gives people a kind of an insight.
Something for everyone kind of thing.
Yeah, it does, doesn't it? Yeah. It's really interesting. So in terms of when you're touring around the world and stuff, how do you find the different audiences? Are the people reacting different in different countries to it then?
But be careful what we say.
Be nice.
I remember that the one thing that stood out with me when we went to Brazil, and we performed in Sao Paulo, and it was kind of like
oh god, yeah. It's like we were the Pope or something.
Yeah, I mean, it was a sort of a
spiritual kind of. Is that what you're gonna say? Yeah.
I was just gonna say it was a big room. But, but it was sort of a flat. It wasn't like a theater style, you know. There was no real tiers or anything, but it was just a kind of a flat room, and the seats were all, you know, just spaced out. But everyone just got out of their seats, and by the end they were actually just standing up at the front of the stage like it was a rock concert.
We wouldn't be used to that.
That's definitely no.
But they're quite in Brazil, like they love "You Raise Me Up" as like their favourite song, and they wanted to hear it all the time. Any kind of promo we did, or because they're quite spiritual, like they're not that they're religious, but they're spiritual, and they love that. There's a lot of that kind of element in Celtic Woman's music. There's a quite spiritual music, and they loved all kind of like Amazing Grace and "You Raise Me Up" and kind of uplifting kind of spiritual songs. So they were really into all that, and I think that's why they came. I think we did "You Raise Me Up" as the last song, and they all flooded to the front. We're not used to that. Like ours is very much like a theatre style show. You stay in your seat and you watch the music. But
never think you need a crowd barrier at a Celtic Woman gig.
But they were brilliant. Actually, they were a lovely audience. Americans are very kind of what's the word? They're kind of enthusiastic from the get-go. Like some audiences, they take time to kind of maybe warm up, and then they're up on their feet at the end. But Americans are like, as soon as they hear that first note,
the first note,
and they're with you for the whole thing. They're actually great. They're great audiences. And then in Germany, they're very reserved and.
Yeah, I've seen on YouTube watching different concerts that the Germans kind of sit quiet for the whole gig, and then
they go nuts then at the end.
Yeah,
because I remember at the end of I think last year, the year before, I used to say kind of thank you to the audience at the very end, just kind of say goodnight. And you couldn't speak because, like, you know, sometimes you go, okay, let them clap for a little bit, and then you talk, and they kind of stop when you start talking. But they wouldn't stop, and it gets to that kind of point of like, what do I do? But they're brilliant. Yeah, they're very. They just observe. They kind of take it all in, and then they show their appreciation at the end of the night.
Certainly, artists have told me that being in Germany, that they would tend to listen, and then they would say stuff to them after the gig, which is kind of, unusual, good compliments and stuff. Yeah. And then obviously in Ireland, or we tend to sometimes sing along to all of our favourite artists or whatever.
Yeah, so, I know. Yeah.
So it's just the way the different mentalities of the different countries.
Yeah, yeah. It's good though.
It's really interesting. Right, we get you to do a second song now. What are you going to do for us next? We're going on piano as well.
We're going on piano. Brian's going to play the piano. This is it's a Celtic Woman, a song that I've sang in Celtic Woman. I sang it for about 2 years, and it's on one of the albums actually as well. It's on Emeralds, Gems. But yeah, we thought we'd kind of do a bit of variety, so we did James Bay there as kind of a pop rock song. This one now is kind of traditional song, Caledonia.
Yes.
So I've sang this a few times with Celtic Woman. So yeah, so it's Caledonia.
Right, take it away in your own time, so.
I don't know if you can see the changes that have come over me. These last few days I've been afraid that I might drift away. I've been telling old stories, singing songs that make me think about where I come from. That's the reason why I seem so far away today. Let me tell you that I love you, that I think about you all the time. Caledonia, you're calling me, now I'm going home. But if I should become a stranger, know that it would make me more than sad. Caledonia's been everything I've ever had. I'm sitting here before the fire, the empty room, the forest choir. The flames have cooled, don't get any higher. They've withered now, they've gone. But I'm steady thinking my way is clear, and I know what I will do tomorrow. When hands have shaken, the kisses flowed, then I will disappear. Let me tell you that I love you, that I think about you all the time. Caledonia, you're calling me, now I'm going home. But if I should become a stranger, know that it would make me more than sad. Caledonia's been everything I've ever had. Caledonia's been everything I've ever had.
Wonderful stuff. That was Caledonian, and it's a lovely traditional
Yeah.
song. When it's sang well, it's a really good song. So well, good stuff. Well done.
Thank you.
So the member there's a member change up, I think, in the violin, isn't there, for
That's
this
right,
for the
yeah.
tour?
We have a new girl, Tara McNeil. She's just started with us, so she's been recording with us with the album. So our first tour will be the South African tour in September. So it'll be lovely. Actually, Tara played on Celtic Woman's last. In the DVD we recorded in the Mansion House in Dublin. She was actually in the band. She was playing the harp, and I remember seeing her and going, "God, that girl is gorgeous." She had long red hair. She was playing the harp, and I thought, God, she's just like perfect for a Celtic woman. And then, like, little did I know, then a year down the line she'd actually be in the lineup. So it's great, and we're really excited to have her. She's a very talented girl. She plays a lot of different instruments, and
Right, so it's good that she's kind of fitting into that
Absolutely,
slot.
yeah.
And obviously there's been a lot of different people that have sang
Yeah.
over the years as well. So
yeah, well, it's just the nature, I think, of the kind of group. It's an all-female lineup, and it's a lot of a big commitment. Like, we're away a lot. Like, last year we were 10 months on tour. Like, we were only home for 8 weeks, and even then when we were home, I think one of those months we were recording an album and doing a DVD. So we had about 4 weeks of downtime in the whole year. So if you have a family or, you know, a husband, commitments, it's difficult. So it's why the lineup has changed so much over the years.
And then people like to do solo projects and do things
Absolutely,
as well outside that as well.
Yeah,
so it's
kind
great.
of. It's nice to kind of do this, and then it can kind of, it's a springboard then if you want to go on and do other kind of solo projects. So yeah.
It's good in that sense. Do you kind of see yourself years down the line maybe doing solo work or recording your own kind of music as well then?
I don't know. To be honest with you, I've sort of got to that point in my life. Like, I've always kind of known up to now, like when I was younger, and I've kind of got to that point now where I'm going, I actually don't really know. I kind of know personally where I want to be, but professionally, I don't know. But I mean, I think for me, I'd like to do maybe a bit more acting and go back kind of the musical theatre route. But yeah, I wouldn't rule anything out. So
Yeah.
I think I'm just enjoying this. This is so unpredictable, really. Celtic Woman is a great job because it's not the same thing all the time. It changes, and I think that's why it appealed to me so much too. Because when you're kind of in a show in London, you're in a year's contract, and it's the same thing every single day for 365 days. Whereas this, you know, we go and we'll do like 5 days in South Africa, and then we've just done an album, and then we're going to do some days, and we're going about 2 weeks in Asia in October, November. You know, and like it's a different kind of show we're going to be doing, and then we're going to do a Christmas show in America. We're singing with all the symphony orchestra, so it's just constantly changing. So it's a nice adventure at the moment, and something kind of to look forward to constantly. So.
And then obviously with the different faces that come in and the different songs that you do, it's always a new and fresh idea. Sometimes when you're in theatre, you're rehearsing the same play over and over kind of thing. So
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
So to be enthusiastic after 100 and something days, it can be a tough
you have
job.
to dig deep, yeah, but not with this. It's great because it is, like you say, it's constantly changing. It's fresh faces coming in all the time, new energy. It's great.
Yeah, it's good in that sense.
It's a different environment as well. Nearly every show. Like when the 4 months there that we just spent in America, we did, I think it was 90 shows, and that's pretty much 90 shows in like 85 different cities and 85 different venues. You know, for every show. So it's like you're coming into some beautiful theatres every day, and you know, it's great.
Yeah, and America's so vast. I mean, it's like going to a different country from one side to the other. So it's like being in different countries within the one country.
Yeah.
It's like a whole continent, basically, isn't it?
Pretty much.
It's huge.
Yeah. And then I suppose, is it very difficult then to try and travel to each of them? Like, obviously, you're not. Do you have to travel long distances often to get to the next venue?
Yeah. Well, but we're lucky we have we've tour buses, but they're like sleeper buses. So we have our own beds. They're very comfortable. Like we have kitchen, living room, flat screen tellies, all that kind of stuff. So, I mean, and some nights we only have to drive 2 hours, and we'll leave the venue at about like 11, and we'll get to our hotel at 1, so you can actually have a night's sleep in a bed, a proper. But then there's nights where we do drive like 13, sometimes 14
16 hours.
There was a couple of
a couple of times we've left and we don't get in till, like, we'll leave after the show and we don't get in till like 6 o'clock the next evening. Like, we just kind of, the drivers just go through. We'll stop a couple of times, obviously, but we wake up on, you wake up on the bus and you're still driving and you're like, oh God.
It depends on your mindset, I suppose. You can make it fun, or you can
kind of just chill out, watch a few movies, pig out on some crap food, or make an excuse. But yeah, no, we're looked after well. Though we've nice, comfortable buses, and when we do get to our hotels, they're comfortable. So we can't complain about that. Really, it's good.
Yeah, because it's like if you're in Australia, it's mad the way you go from Sydney to Melbourne or whatever.
We fly there, so that's not so bad.
But the distances are so big between all of them.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, I guess but we're lucky there. So normally what happens, which is actually great, it's happened a few times when we've been in Australia, like we travel, like we'll fly, but obviously it takes like the trucks with all the kind of equipment and the set and all takes a couple of days, so we get like 2 days of holiday, like to sunbathe or go like sightseeing, so we quite like that.
Rooftop pool parties for 2 days.
That's good. Anyway, so is there a time frame on when the new Celtic Woman album will be out?
I think it's due out in November, but don't quote me on that. It's still very much in the
process.
In the process, but I think it's meant to be around November time. We'll let you know.
Yeah, cool. So it'll be in time for.
I'll send you a copy. Yeah, and play it on air.
Definitely, yeah. It'll be in time for Christmas then.
Yeah.
Everyone releases albums for Christmas and stuff. Yeah. It's a big market, isn't it?
Yeah. We're no exception.
In terms of, do you get to play many shows in Ireland then?
No, actually, we've played once since I've been here. And we played the 3 Arena there. Was it
January
2014?
Yeah,
that's a long time ago, actually, isn't it?
Yeah, but it was actually great. It was sort of to commemorate. It was our it was Celtic Woman's 10-year.
2015.
15.
Yeah.
Oh, right, sorry. It was we've agreed now. Yeah, and it was the 10-year anniversary for Celtic Woman, so they wanted to kind of start the tour. Like, because we were going all around the world with that one. The company wanted to start it in Ireland, just to kind of mark it, a special occasion. And it was actually brilliant. And it was great for us because we're always away.
None of our friends ever see us play. No, it was probably the most nerve-wracking gig I've ever done.
Yeah. Oh my God.
People always talk about that, don't they? About performing in front of their friends.
Because when you're away as well, you can kind of go, oh yeah, like we're flying it, like we're doing great. And then you have to prove it. You're like, oh no, people are actually going to see this now, and like we really have to pull it out of the bag. But no, it was a brilliant night, and it was a real celebration for all of us.
Completely different type of a gig.
Yeah. And we did a night up in Belfast then the next night, actually. We did the Odyssey Arena there.
Yeah. Is it kind of something that's more appreciated abroad than it is at home?
I think it's like anything, though. I think you don't appreciate really. It's like here, we went to like the west of Ireland there like a year or so ago for a party, and we were there and going, how have we never to the Burren and all? It's like, how have we never been here? Like, it's like that. You don't appreciate what's right there, I think, and I think that's what it is really. It's just not a market for it. It's so available here as well. You can go to Temple Bar on a Saturday night and you can see really good Celtic music. So, but yeah, our market is mainly America. They love it because we there's a big station over there. It's called PBS, the Public Broadcasting Station. It's a kind of a what's the word? Funded, kind of a public funded.
To make petition or
they do pledges and stuff. So it's actually where what's it called? Downton Abbey was kind of became huge on it as well. But Celtic Woman, they air all their our specials and stuff. and then people pledge and stuff. So it's a big kind of publicity machine over there for us, and it's what's kind of brought Celtic Woman the attention of to the people of America. So it was a great help for us. That's why we have a massive market over there with that, because of PBS television, which is great.
That's excellent. And obviously people in America and various countries, a lot of people like to be Irish, even though they might not necessarily always have Irish ancestors and stuff.
Yeah. Every American we meet,
You have an Irish dog.
It gets to that point though, like after into the 4th month, like you're in a taxi and they're like, "Where are you from?" straight away, and like I actually just start making up stories now. Like I'm a dental nurse or something. I'm like I'm on a conference, or because it's like you get into it and they're like, "Where are you from?" And you're like, "I'm from Ireland." "Oh, I'm from Ireland," and then they're not at all. Like I'm 1/16 Irish, and it's lovely, and it's very flattering, like that people really want to be a part of our country, and it is lovely. But after a while, you're like, "Oh, I can't listen to this story anymore. I've heard this story so much." But it is nice though, when you really sit back and go, God, like our country is so small and it's had such a big impact on the world. Like it is great, really. Like
no matter where we go.
Yeah, and it's great, and we're very proud to be able to take our Celtic Woman's music, which is predominantly Celtic music, and bring it across the world and kind of represent our country. Like it is lovely. Like sometimes you just take it for granted, and then sometimes you sit back and go, God, this is actually quite cool. This is great, and it's actually great that people really want to be Irish. They want it part of our small little country. Like,
yeah, it's quite incredible, because even like you mentioned, if you mentioned the Chieftains or Clonard or U2 or the Corrs or anything like that, they would turn around the world, and everybody's really into that. Even like Enya is so huge in Asia.
Oh, yeah,
it's just amazing how people grab onto all of this.
She's huge in America. We do actually I'm knocking bottles. We do Orinoco Flow, Enya's song Orinoco Flow, in the show, and
it's probably one of the most popular songs.
The most popular, yeah. As soon as they hear the da 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 da, the audiences are like, yeah, they love it. Like she's massive over there. Yeah,
it's quite incredible.
So. Yeah.
Right, we get you to do one more song. What are you going to do first?
Okay, well, this is a musical theatre song, so changing it up again. This is actually a song called "She Used to Be Mine," and it's from a new musical that's on Broadway called Waitress, and we actually did it the night that the Tonys were on in the States. We put this out on our 17 songs in kind of to commemorate the Tonys. So this is "She Used to Be Mine."
All right, take it away in your own time,
Thank
Sal.
you.
It's not simple to say that most days I don't recognize me with these shoes and this apron. That place and its patrons have taken more than I gave them. It's not easy to know I'm not anything like I used to be, although it's true I was never attention's sweet center. I still remember that girl. She's imperfect, but she tries. She is good, but she lies. She is hard on herself. She is broken, but won't ask for help. She is messy, but she's kind. She is lonely most of the time. She's all of this mixed up and baked in a beautiful pie. She is gone, but she used to be mine. It's not what I asked for. Sometimes life just slips in through a back door and carves out a person who makes you believe it's all true. And now I've got you, and you're not what I asked for. If I'm honest, I know I would give it all back for a chance to start over and rewrite an ending or two. For that girl that I knew, who'll be reckless just enough, who gets hurt, but who learns how to toughen up when she's bruised, and gets used by a man who can't love, and then she'll get stuck and be scared of the life that's inside her, growing stronger each day, till it finally reminds her to fight just a little and bring back the fire in her eyes that's been gone, but it used to be mine. It used to be mine. She is messy, but she's kind. She is lonely most of the time. She is all of this mixed up and baked in a beautiful pie. She is gone, but she used to be.
That's what I
We hope so.
I don't know. It would be nice, wouldn't it?
Yeah. Yeah. No, it's a busy year coming up again. So.
Excellent stuff. Before you go, I wanted to ask, how is Brian Mcfadden getting on in the music industry these days?
I don't know. You'll have to ask him that yourself. I actually haven't seen him in ages. So he's doing a lot of TV nowadays, presenting. So,
Okay.
But he's gigging
Oh.
away as well. I don't know. Actually, you'll have to ask him that yourself.
Right, okay. It's funny because I obviously it's interesting having family members doing music and stuff as well. Obviously, he's wrote songs and he was in Westlife before and he had some really good music out. I remember 2004 he had a great album out and stuff as well. So
Yeah.
it's interesting. And obviously you've done theatre and you're doing The Celtic Woman and different things as well. So does anyone else in the family do it, or was it just you guys?
Well, there's only two of us in our family,
Yeah.
so yeah. No, my mum and dad, and no, not at all. They kind of just sent. Well, they sent me first when I was 4 to Billy Barry, and it was then Brian kind of went when he was about 10. He went a bit later, and it was just kind of a hobby that kind of just turned into. My mum and dad just wanted us to have loads of hobbies, wanted us to be busy, and my mum used to say that because I don't want you sitting on walls. You know, sitting outside people's houses on walls. So she wanted us just to be every time, you know, every afternoon after school we had a hobby, and that was the one that stuck. Yeah,
I
there's
think
no
that-
reason other than that, really.
I think it's important for kids just to get them to do loads of hobbies, and then
Yeah.
eventually they'll find something.
They
they
find the
like.
one they love,
The
yeah.
picture
And
they
that
love.
was, I did everything. I did like piano, horse riding, brownies, everything. And this Billy Barry was the one that I just loved. I had a love for it, and that's kind of that's how we ended up in the business, like randomly. Yeah, just fell into it really.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, Susan and Brian and Anthony, thanks very much, guys, for being with us.
Thanks a
on
million.
Thanks a million for
Show.
having us.
Keith.
Thanks so
and
much.
best of luck with the tour.
Thank
And
you.
Hopefully we'll see you again next year.
Yeah, cheers, man.
Thank
All right,
you.
no
Thanks,
problem.
Keith. Bye.
So we'll be back in a few minutes, so do stay with us here on Sunday Night with Keith on Dublin South FM.